Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Nature's Lab. I am Advocate Himanshu. In this video we will discuss some strategies to boost up more marks in 32nd Bihar Judicial Service examinations. Although almost all the topics are important for the examination point of view, but for securing more marks, first of all we will have to understand the syllabus. There are two papers in Bihar Judicial Service PT examination. First paper is GK GS, in which there are 100 marks questions are asked. In this paper we find certain segments are more important than other segments because more questions are asked from this segment, which is more valuable. And in first step we will cover those segments from where more questions are asked, and in our second step we will cover those topics which are less valuable. If we talk about first paper, it could be divided into four parts: history 35 marks, science 30 marks, geography 15 marks, and current affair 20 marks. So in first step we will cover history and science. In history we will find out what are those topics from where frequently questions are asked. In the same way we will deal with science. In history, we will separately deal ancient history, medieval history, and modern history. In the same way, in science, we will separately deal physics, chemistry, and biology. In ancient history is a time period from the beginning of writing and recorded human history to as far as late antiquity. The span of recorded history is roughly 5000 years, beginning with the Sumerian cuneiform script. Ancient history covers all continents inhabited by humans in the period 3000 BC to AD 500. The important topics to study from ancient Indian history are prehistoric India, historic India, Indus Valley civilization, Vedic India, Mahajanpadas, Buddhism and related topics, Jainism, Mauryan Empire, administrative structure, rulers and legacy, Gupta Empire, rulers and legacy. In short, ancient history tells us about the happenings in ancient India. We come to know about the proceedings which led to the development of the oldest culture and traditions. It shows how agriculture begins and early practices that were prevalent in those times. Now we come on medieval India. Medieval India or medieval period of India is considered to be period between the 8th and 18th century. During this time, India witnessed many changes in economy, religion, and society. The end of the medieval period in India is noted by breaking up of the Mughal Empire and advent of British rule. In medieval India, we will study different dynasties like Slave dynasty, Lodi dynasty, Khilji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty, and Mughal dynasty. Now in modern history, if we talk about modern history, the modern history of India is considered to have begun in 1850. The majority of this period is occupied with the colonial history of India under British rule. The modern period is said to end around 1945. In terms of global history, modern history is said to begin after the Middle Ages. In the same way, we will discuss science topic in separate video. We will find out those areas from where frequently questions are asked in physics. Particularly, we will focus on unit dimension, electric current, light, motion force, gravity, universe, etc. In chemistry, we will concentrate on frequently asked topics like acid, base, salt, physical chemistry, organic chemistry. In bio, we will cover vitamins, disease, remedy, cell and its compounds, etc. Now in second paper, when we talk about second paper, there are 150 marks questions are asked in law paper, in which we find certain segments are more important, as there are more questions are asked from these segments. These are law of torts 15 marks, law of contract 20 marks, constitutional and administrative law 40 marks, family law 20 marks. There are 95 marks questions are asked from these topics. So in our first segment we will analyze and discuss these topics, these subjects, these laws. So conclusively we can say that for scoring more marks in PT exam we will have to go through certain strategy. in future we will march forward on this strategy. So in second paper, in our first segment, first of all we will discuss and analyze four laws, that is law of torts, law of contracts, constitutional and administrative law, family law. In administrative law we find there are no sections like other laws, so we will deal administrative law topic wise. We will select some topics from where more questions are asked, like nature, scope and development of administrative law, rule of law and administrative law, delegated legislation and control of delegated legislation, separation of power, administrative discretion, principle of natural justice, writs and judicial review, administrative tribunals, Lokpal and Lok Ayogs. In the same way, when we talk about torts, in torts there are sections and leading cases. So we learn torts through sections and leading cases. The important topics which we will learn in law of torts are definition, essentials, nature and scope, general defense, remoteness of damages, vicarious liability, strict and absolute liability, battery, assault and false imprisonment, negligence, defamation, malicious prosecution, trespass and conversion. And now in constitutional law we will study silent feature of constitution, the preamble, fundamental rights, directive principles and fundamental duties, the executive, president, governor, prime minister, the parliament and state legislature, supreme court and high courts, service under the union and states, distribution of legislative, administrative and financial powers between union and states, freedom of trade, commerce and intercourse, emergency provisions, election commissions, amendment of the constitution, miscellaneous, review of the constitutions, etc. In law of contract we will study offer, acceptance, consideration, agreement, contract, communication, acceptance and revocation of proposals, contracts, voidable contracts and void agreements, competency to contract, free consent, unlawful object and consideration, consideration and object unlawful in part, agreement without consideration, agreement in restraint of marriage, agreement in restraint of trade, agreement in restraint of legal proceedings, uncertain agreements, wagering agreements, miscellaneous, contingent contract, the performance of contract, certain relations resembling those created by contract, the consequence of breach of contract, indemnity and guarantee, bailment, agency, etc. Again in family law we have to study two laws, that is Hindu law and Muslim law. Family law could be divided into two parts, that is Hindu law and Muslim law. In Hindu law we will have to study Hindu Marriage Act, Hindu Success 1955, Hindu Succession Act 1956, Hindu Marriage and Guardianship Act 1956, Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act 1956. In Hindu Marriage Act 1955 we have to study preliminary Hindu marriages, restitution of conjugal rights and judicial separation, nullity of marriage and divorce, jurisdiction and procedure. In Hindu Succession Act we have to study preliminary intestate and testamentary successions, and in Hindu Adoption Act we have to study adoption and maintenance. Again in Muslim law we have to study sources of Muslim law, marriages, dower, divorce, guardianship, gift, that is hiba, will, waqf and acknowledgement. So in our first segment we will focus on these topics which I have mentioned, and in our second topics we will study all those points which are asked in the examination and covers less marks. So because we find that 95 marks questions are asked from these topics, so in first step we will cover all these topics so that we could get more and more marks from 95 marks, and in our second step we will cover all other laws so that we could gain more marks from that topics also. It does not mean that only these four topics we will cover and all other things we will leave, because very then it could very much harmful for us. So thank you for watching this video, and please like, subscribe and suggest.